Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and joining me on Mondays, as usual, is Jason Cameron. Hey, Jason, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. It sucked to go back to work, kind of, because the Christmas holidays was nice. It was nice and relaxing. It was extremely quiet, like it
Yeah,
was for everybody, I'm sure. But I'm very grateful that I was able to see who I was able to see, and it just makes you grateful for the people that are in your lives at this point in time during
yeah.
this Christmas holiday. So that's what it reminded me of, and yeah, so I was grateful for the people that I did see, and I am super glad to be back in the saddle with my partner. So here we
Yeah,
go.
that's awesome. Yeah, good. Yeah, I feel the same way. I wasn't able to see my dad, who I always see on Christmas this year. I was a little bit sad and disappointed about that, but luckily I was able to get together with some family and yeah, see a couple friends, and yeah, it's been a nice break, well deserved, and yeah, it's been so fun watching sports. This past weekend was phenomenal. Really awesome to see the regular season actually finish. They did the whole 17 weeks, and we were able to see it all come together and culminate in the craziest, wildest NFL season we've ever seen. And now 14 teams will move on to the playoffs starting next Saturday. Pretty incredible that they were able to pull it off. There was a lot of stuff through the season you and I've talked about, the COVID, where we were like, what the hell is going on? It's a bit of a farce, but they pulled it off in the end.
Yeah, they did. They did. It was through probably sheer determination, willpower, and tenacity on the NFL's part to make sure that this pulled off. At times, you looked at some of the teams that were decimated by COVID, and you thought to yourself, should you really actually be playing this game? Especially a game with no quarterbacks, where the team doesn't have a quarterback. Like, it literally didn't have a quarterback. But you know what? They got through it. They did it. And now we're at the playoff stage. So
Yeah.
well done, NFL. You did it.
Yeah, they were able to do it, shockingly enough. But yeah, now we get to talk about playoffs. It's amazing. It's the first time they're ever letting 7 teams in. With the only team that gets a bye is the team that finished first in each conference, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, most people are going to side with them being the front runners, but a lot of great teams made it. Everyone's got a shot now. Even the Washington football team pulled it off with a 7-9 record, and they're in there, and they're facing Tampa Bay, which they're going to probably give them the run for their money. But what do you see going into this playoffs, and what are you kind of looking forward to for the most part?
All right. Okay, so there's quite a bit of stuff going on here. Okay, so first off, I'm going to go back to what you said with the Washington football, such a ridiculous name. I'm sorry. I still can't get over that. It's so ridiculous. Anyways, I'm going to start off with the Washington football team, and they're going to play Tom Brady, Bucks, huh? Tom Brady, huh? That's a bad hand. That's a bad
Tough task. Tough task. Always.
Oh, always, man. So I I I love the feel-good story of Alex Smith. I think the man's done incredibly well, and unfortunately, I think his feel-good story ends here.
Yeah.
It does, because you got Tom Brady, and I believe he threw for 40 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
he did that at 43. Yeah, man, Alex Smith, man, I love you to death, but no, man, you can't overcome that. God's gonna really have to help him there,
No.
like God.
I hear you. Yeah, no kidding. Well, yeah, it's obviously the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. He's had a bit of struggles in Tampa Bay. A lot of people have called him over the hill a lot over the last few years. There was games where we were left shaking our heads thinking, maybe he just doesn't have it anymore. But they seem to have really gelled well in the last 4 or 5 weeks, and their offense is really, really churning up a lot of yards, getting a lot of touchdowns. He's got all those weapons we talked about. The only thing that worries me about Tampa Bay is Mike Evans suffered that injury in the end zone. Not sure how serious it is, but he does have a lot of other weapons, and Godwin stepped up again and had a phenomenal year. So, yeah, Tampa Bay, to me, should win that, but the loss of Evans was big.
Yes. The loss of Evans is huge, but like you said, they got a ton of other weapons that he can just kind of throw to. And Gronkowski's always there, just kind of waiting in the wings. Just go, hey man, I'm in the end zone. And I'm big. Throw the ball. Touchdown. All right. So yeah, the Washington football team. Oh man, they really need to change that. Anyways, they're gonna have their hands full. And I quick note I just wanted to jump over to the AFC side. I wanted to point out one match in particular that I've been having my eyes on.
Sure.
And that's the Steelers versus the Browns.
Oh yeah.
The Steelers versus the Browns, man. Steelers went 1-4 in their last 5 games. Right?
Yeah.
And the Browns are on the up. And they beat the Steelers within that 5-game span.
Yep.
I think the Browns have their number.
Oh yeah.
I think the Browns pull an upset.
Oh,
I really do.
Oh, yeah. Good prediction. Cool.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh was resting Ben Roethlisberger, a bunch of their main guys, but the Browns' advantage to me is their running game and their ability to stop the run. Pittsburgh's run game has been horrible. It's going to be all in Ben Roethlisberger's hands to try to pull out the victory, but Cleveland seems to be more balanced. They got the great run attack, great run defense. Baker's playing well, not giving the ball away. And maybe Cleveland's finally going to do it. I wanted to tell you about some of the things that happened in the years it's been since Cleveland made the playoffs. Okay, Cleveland hasn't made the playoffs since 2002, and there have been a lot of things happen in that year. Since that year, LeBron James was a senior. No, LeBron James was just in high school. In 2002, he was just about to enter the NBA. So his whole entire 18-year career has happened since the Browns were last in the playoffs. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Lennox Lewis beat up Mike Tyson, knocked him out in the 7th round. And we just saw Mike Tyson fight as a very old 54-year-old man. But he fought Lennox Lewis back in 2002. I was like, wow. I barely that fight is so far in the past. It's shocking to me that was 18 years ago.
Yeah. No, that's shocking.
There was so many funny things that have happened in that span. SARS was hitting the world. It came from China. And it hit the world in 2002. Just thing after thing after thing after thing. There's just so many things that I could list off here, but it's going to take up our whole time. But can you believe it's been that long for these long-suffering Cleveland fans? And they finally have pulled it off. 3 years after going completely winless, Baker Mayfield's come in. And, they're the playoff team. We weren't sure if they were going to do it this year, but they pulled it off.
Yeah, they pulled it off, man. And Baker Mayfield, he's the truth. He's Browns for life now. He's Browns for life. Yeah. And I got to tell you, another guy that's the truth, Nick Chubb is for real.
Yeah.
That dude is,
wow.
He is, wow. He is one heck of a running back. Okay. The way that he can break out runs and stuff kind of reminds me of Eric Metcalf back in the day.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that kind of explosiveness to, I can score whenever, and you'll never know when that happens.
Yeah.
That's Nick Chubb, man. Like, their running attack is second to none. With Kareem Hunt back there, too, as well. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Pittsburgh roared out of the gate undefeated. Everybody was like, oh, they're the greatest team. But their running game has been so bad for so many weeks. And I just knew that would put too much pressure on the passing game, and they just wouldn't be able to sustain that. And like you say, 1-4 of the last 5. It's too bad. I've liked the Steelers this year because of Chase Claypool. He's had a phenomenal year being an Abbotsford boy, coming in and really shining a light on Canadian talent. And it's been fun to watch. He tied a rookie record for the Steelers with his 9th touchdown of the year. And I think he got about 60 catches this season and had a real big impact. But I think he would have had even more of an impact if the threat of the run was there for the Steelers for the last 6-8 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, man. He would have been more of an impactful player if they had a run game to rely on, even a somewhat of a run game to rely on, and they just didn't have any of that. They didn't have any of that. So
it's pretty cool that they're actually having a rematch. They play each other on week 17, and then they get to play each other in the first week of the playoffs. Do you think Tomlin held so much back so that they weren't able to scout them? They weren't able to know what their packages are going to be. Do you think the savviness of him will show its strength in the first game of the playoffs?
I think it's a hard balancing act to do that, to not show your hand, but to make sure that your team is still on a high going into the playoffs. So maybe he didn't show his hand, but his team is clearly not on a high going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's pretty clear to me. Yeah. And so I'd rather go with the team that is on a high, does feel good about themselves, is feeling themselves really good right now. And that's why I like the Browns. That's why I really like the Browns. To be honest with you.
Yeah. There was a funny story that came out of Cleveland, and they all have names for plays. And they called that last play that Baker Mayfield ran around the end and got the first down that solidified the victory. They called that the Maserati play. And some people were like, wonder what that Maserati play is. And somebody remembered that Colin Cowherd from the radio, satellite radio, he had been a vocal critic of Baker Mayfield ever since he's come into the NFL. Just calls him, terrible quarterback, not good enough. He said, it's pretty bad when you pick somebody number 1 overall and you're expecting a Maserati and you get a Mazda. And so, funny enough, they decided to call that play Maserati, and it ended up getting them into the playoffs. And it was kind of a snub for Baker to say that, and for the Cleveland to say that, hey, forget you, Cowherd, and all your critics. We finally made it. So it's kind of funny.
No, I think that's great. That's great. That's great when professional athletes can put their doubters, like put them aside and just say, or put them in their place, I should say, and say, hey, look at me. I'm actually that good. I'm actually really, really, really good. And look at that. The whole city's on my back now. And I'm going to take them to the promised land. Maybe he's not going to take them to the promised land, but he took them to the playoffs.
Finally.
For 18 years.
Jeez, awesome. That was a long wait. I kind of feel bad for a lot of Cleveland fans. They did get that title with LeBron, and they've got Stipe Miocic, heavyweight champion from there. So they got a few things to hang their hat on. Cavaliers have actually played pretty good this year so far, but we'll get into Cleveland as the playoffs go. And if they get a victory, holy cow, it'll be just incredible for those fans. I was amazed at the loudness of those small amount of fans that were in the stands that day. And good on them. That whole organization needed it. All those fans suffering for so many years with so many terrible teams, and Baker's come in. Like I said, 3 years after going winless, he's the number 1 pick, and there they are. I want to switch to the Seahawks. We love talking about the Seahawks here. A lot of our listeners and viewers are local on the Pacific Northwest, and they follow the Seahawks. The Seahawks go into the playoffs with 4 straight wins. They're hosting the Rams. Both of Russell Wilson's 2 biggest weapons set records on Sunday. DK Metcalf with franchise record for receiving yards, passing Steve Largent, 1,303 yards out of 83 catches and 10 touchdowns. And Tyler Lockett got the franchise record for catches, 100 catches, 10 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns on the day, and he got 1,000 yards as well. And that's the first time Seahawks teammates have got 1,000 yards since Bobby Ingram and Brian Blades and Joey Galloway in 1995. So really cool to see them set records. Really cool to see those weapons still doing really good, and as they're heading into the playoffs, they look strong on that front for sure.
And I must say, that last game where they beat the 49ers, that was a definite statement game. 49ers came out to play. Yeah. They played them hard. Yeah. And then if you get a win like that going into the playoffs, I think that will serve them very well in their first and second round, if they get into the second round. But I think that will definitely serve them well because they had to come back in the fourth, and they made plays.
Yeah.
They made big plays.
They sure
You
did.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. It was great to see. And yeah, they're looking strong. They've really fixed a lot of their problems on defense. They were really terrible for the first 2/3 of the season. Defensively, they were one of the worst teams in the league. They've actually become one of the best teams in the league and on defense in the last 4 or 5 games. And it's really good to see them turn around. Unfortunately, Jamal Adams took some kind of shoulder injury. Don't know how serious it is yet, but that was a big blow. And let's hope he's able to play.
yeah, I really do, because he's a key piece to that defense. They're going to need him in the first round for sure. So hopefully that's not too big a hopefully it's not too serious an injury
Yeah.
for him to come back.
This will be the third matchup between the Rams and the Seahawks, and that'll be the third matchup in the last 2 months. They beat the Rams 20-9 in Week 16 only a couple weeks ago, and that was a huge win. In the earlier matchup on November 15th, the Rams won 23-16, really tight game. Russell Wilson was throwing a bit of picks at that time. He wasn't very accurate in getting picked off. But he seems to have addressed those problems. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. The Rams' defense is phenomenal. But Jared Goff, he had surgery on his broken thumb this past week. So they had John Wolford playing quarterback. He looked terrible to start with, played pretty good for the rest of the game. But their strength is definitely that defense. And I think it's going to be a really tight matchup, probably one-score game either way. I think Seahawks right now are going in with a lot of momentum, and yeah, let's hope they can keep it up.
Hopefully they can keep it up, and I believe that you're absolutely right. It's going to be a tight scoring affair. It's going to be a low scoring game, and I think it's going to be one in the trenches. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be one of those games for sure.
Yeah. We mentioned Washington. That was game 256 on the season, very last game of the year, Sunday nighter, 5 o'clock. If they beat Philly, they get in the playoffs. The morning games were 10 o'clock here on the West Coast, and the sort of the feature game in the morning was Cowboys and Giants, and whoever won that game was able to win the division if Washington fails. So the Giants beat the Cowboys, which made a lot of people happy. There's a lot of people that aren't Cowboy fans, especially me, and so I was so happy that the Giants knocked them off and they had a shot at the title. So they're cheering for Philly. First time probably most Giants fans are cheering for Philly in their life. But Philly just gave it away. They didn't want to win. I thought it was a joke, a farce. I was mad, and so were every Giant fan that lives. What do you think? It just seemed like Doug Peterson said, nope, that's it. We're not playing any of our guys. We're going to bench Hurts to throw in this Sudfeld idiot. And it was a joke. They had the chance to win. They could have kicked the field goal. They decided to go for it on fourth down. Everything was just a travesty. I was so angry. What did you think of that game?
I wonder if he got paid. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because there was a lot of things where you're just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, are you serious? It's like, it's not like you're rescuing your guys because you're going into playoffs. So what are you doing? I didn't understand the thought process. I didn't understand any of it. It's not like he's going for draft picks or anything. I don't know, man. He literally called it a day. He called it a day, and he went home early. You know what I mean? They really did.
They kind of were going for draft picks. I guess that loss moved them up. I believe I heard 3 places or 4 places. So they were able to get so much higher of a draft pick. And so that was what they've said. He said I wasn't trying to lose, but man, I just think everybody is just like, come on, buddy. Like, that was just so blatant, brutal. You put in this guy, Nate Sudfeld, who looked like he just was over his head. He just was like, holy crap. He just threw the ball right to Washington, fumbled the ball to Washington. He just handed the game to him. And Jalen Hurts has been great over the last 3 weeks. He's
Yeah.
been really great, giving them a really legitimate shot at winning. And I want to see this guy. Yeah, let's put this guy in. I think he's a sixth rounder or something like that. It was disgusting.
Well, he played like a sixth rounder, right? And he also too, he wasn't trying to lose the game, but guess what? He wasn't trying to win either. He really wasn't trying to win. Like
Yeah,
so,
it was brutal.
I give credit to Washington. They won a game that they should have won,
Yeah.
and they did because they had help. But yes, Washington through the Giants fans should be absolutely livid, and maybe the league should look into that
Yeah.
about blatantly throwing games because that's as blatant as it gets. That's as blatant as it gets of throwing a game.
Oh man, yeah. We talked about it with the Jets and them tanking. All of a sudden they won 2 games at the end of the year to fall out of that number one draft slot position for Trevor Lawrence. But this was just it was disgusting, and I hate that they have to have these lotteries like they do in the NBA and NHL, where if you finish last, you're not automatically going to get that first overall pick because it's not cool to be a fan of a team and see another team that just completely tanks and gives your rival team the victory like that. It was horrible. I'm not a Giants fan, but I don't like a lot of what Washington has represented over the years. I'm pretty disgusted with their name and how long they fought to keep that name. I do like the story of Alex Smith, like you said. I do like the Ron Rivera story, having to battle through cancer this year. But geez, I don't think they deserved it. Just to be handed to them like that, it was not good. Anyway, let's talk about some other matchups in the playoffs. Why don't we talk about the NFC playoff picture? New Orleans ended up to be number 2 seed, and they're going to host the number 7 seed Chicago. Obviously, Drew Brees looked pretty good coming back, but Alvin Kamara missed last game with COVID, and they're not sure that he's going to make it back for the first game of the playoffs because of COVID protocols. So massive blow to New Orleans, obviously. Do you think Chicago has a chance, them missing that big weapon?
That's big. Okay, so I'm going to say that right off. That's a big deal. Like if he does miss the first round, that's a big deal. Yeah. But I still don't believe the Bears will have enough to overcome the Saints. Because the Saints, I'm trying to think where the Bears are better than them, and I don't see where they're better than them in any capacity in this particular game. Like I really don't. I think the Saints are just overall the better team, and I believe the better team should win. I don't know if they'll win easily, but I believe they're going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the Bears just obviously squeaked in there as the last wild card spot. Their season hung in the balance all day Sunday, but we'll see. I'm disappointed that Kamara's not going to be there. Love watching him play. Chicago does have a great defense, I don't see New Orleans losing this game. They've had a phenomenal year. That one goes 1:40 Pacific time, 4:40 Eastern time on Sunday. So the second game on Sunday. We talked about the Seattle and the Rams a little bit, but that game goes on Saturday. That's the second game. Also the 1:40 Pacific, 4:40 Eastern time. Obviously, if Jared Goff is hurt and out, they're going to have a hard time with John Wolford, who didn't play terrible, but I don't see them doing it. Seattle should win this game, hosting number 3 seed against the Rams, number 6 seed. And then we've got Washington against the Brady, as you mentioned, on the NFC. And that game goes Saturday at 5:15 Pacific time, 8:15 Eastern time. Mike Evans being hurt is going to be something that will be a blow for them. But like I said, so many other weapons that Brady should be able to get to. Let's talk about the AFC playoff picture now. Kansas City got their number 1 seed, so they got the bye. Everything's going through Arrowhead there. Buffalo had a phenomenal year, 13-3, tied their franchise record, number 2 seed, and they play number 7 seed Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor had an absolute fantastic game, and he's played great in the last few weeks. Phillip Rivers is playing well. Do you think the Colts have any shot at upsetting Buffalo?
I think they do. I think they do because the AFC compared to the NFC, the AFC is clearly the stronger division. Clearly. From 4 to 7, they're all 11-5. All right. Yeah. So I would say that all of these teams have the ability to beat all the other teams, except maybe KC. But I would say that I still believe the Bills will beat the Colts because I believe the Bills are the one team that can threaten KC.
Yeah.
I really do. I sincerely believe that in my heart that the Bills have the ability to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah. Josh Rosen has had an absolutely massive year. Stephon Diggs too. They have looked great on defense, offense. They have just played absolutely phenomenal this whole entire year. Phillip Rivers signed a 1-year deal with Indy. He had struggled in his last season with San Diego, I guess the Chargers, and he was, lots of speculation that he was over the hill and he was done. Had a really phenomenal year. Was able to pass Dan Marino on the yardage list, on the touchdown list. He's number 5 overall now, and I think he's been able to really, really have a resurgence. He signed a 1-year, $25 million deal, and people think this might be his last hurrah. I think he has 6 kids or something, and he wants to, be a family man. So he might leave. And Jonathan Taylor has just been unbelievable. Another 250-yard game from Taylor on Sunday. And once you got a weapon like that, it makes the passing game open up so much, as we mentioned earlier. I think Indy really has a great shot. I think this is going to be a phenomenal game.
I think it's going to be a great game. And because of Jonathan Taylor, that's why Phillip Rivers had this resurgence in his career. Maybe they signed him for another, hey, man, you want to give another go a year? Another 25 mil? You got 6 kids, man. They need food.
I could definitely see them trying to keep them coming. Yeah, I mean, you can think, okay, all the education, all the things that kids are going to need. $25 million is going to buy a lot of stuff for your kids.
Yeah, it will. But you know what? Like I said, I think the Colts, they have a shot. Yeah. It kind of be silly of me to say that they don't have a shot. They have a shot. They most assuredly do. Their defense, awesome. Jonathan Taylor he's just kicking butt out there. Yeah. But they're going against the Bills team that pretty much is clicking on all cylinders. It's going to be really tough for them to overcome that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So that's the early game on Saturday, first game of the weekend, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern time, Buffalo, Indy. Pittsburgh, number 3 seed against Cleveland, number 6. We talked about that. That's the 5:15 game on Sunday. And the other game that we haven't talked about is the Tennessee Titans, number 4 seed against Baltimore Ravens, number 5 seed. We've talked all year about Tennessee and those massive weapons with Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Ryan Tannehill running the show there. Obviously, the amazing performance by Lamar Jackson, being able to get that team back into the playoffs. Only player in NFL history to be quarterback and get 2,000 yards rushing. And, I think he did a really massive job there. But Tennessee, how are you going to pick against Tennessee in this matchup?
It's going to be real tough because they got that dude that in the backfield, right? Like the monster. He's a monster. Derrick Henry, how about this? Nobody's really figured out how to stop him yet. Yeah. And I don't see the Ravens stopping him in the playoffs. Like, I don't see that being a thing. But then again, I also see the Titans are going to have their hands full with Lamar Jackson. This is going to be a nice game, man. It's going to be a great game. I believe the Titans will still edge the Ravens, and I believe they'll edge them because of Derrick Henry.
Yeah. He was 250 yards away or something from getting to be the 2,000 club. he ended up getting there. He was the 8th player ever in NFL history to get 2,000 yards, joining just the elite of the elite in the NFL, only trailing Eric Dickerson, Adrian Peterson, Barry Sanders, and Jamal Lewis. He's only 5th now on there. Just an absolute force. First player to lead the league in rushing in back-to-back years since LaDainian Tomlinson did in 2006, 2007. And I found out yesterday that he got 2,000 yards in high school. He got 2,000 yards in college. And now he's got 2,000 yards in the NFL. Yeah, he's been a beast his whole entire life. And yeah, I think he's going to run into the next round of the playoffs. And that means if it goes according to plan, they would have to face the Kansas City Chiefs in the second round.
Oh, dude. Yeah. That is beautiful. That is a beautiful game. That would be something to behold. I am already psyched for it. Not saying that the Titans are going to just take it, but if that is the matchup going into the second round, that's going to be one hell of a game.
Yeah, holy cow. Will it ever be? Well, they always say the day after the NFL regular season wraps up is called Black Monday because of all the coach firings. There was 3 coaches fired today. Adam Gates for the Jets. He had a 13-game losing streak this year. He was 9-23 in his 2 years with the Jets. They were a complete laughingstock. They won 2 games miraculously near the end of the year, but not enough to save his job. So see you later, Adam. I think he's heading to the college ranks. Anthony Lynn was let go after 4 years with the LA Chargers. He had a 33-31 record. I love the guy. I wish he stuck around. He made a few mistakes this year, in my opinion, and they had an opportunity possibly with Justin Herbert to do a lot better than they did. And we talked about how many heartbreaking losses they had this year. I think it had to do a little bit with coaching. And so, yeah, that decision was made. Yeah, sorry, Anthony. I think he'll get a shot somewhere because he is a really good guy and a good mind, football mind. But, yeah, he was a casualty today. And Doug Marrone, 4 seasons with the Jags this year, worst team in the league, 1-15, 24-43 over those 4 seasons. They already let go of the GM last month, and now Doug Marrone is gone. There's 6 openings for coach and 5 openings for general manager in the league. And John Elway decided to go upstairs today and vacate the GM job in Denver, which was quite a shock to most people. So there'll be a lot of turmoil in the front office and for a lot of organizations.
Yeah, there's a lot of changeover, but for some of these organizations, that was desperately needed. They were garbage. Yeah. So like turnover is good at this point in time for the Jags, the Jets, and for some of these other things. And the Chargers were always, like we said, like we talked about it, they were close.
Yeah.
And they just need that little something else to get them over the hump for next season. And I think maybe the coaching change might get them there. Yeah. But we shall see.
Yeah, exactly. One cool thing that was talked about a little bit pre-game and then just briefly post-game in the playoffs. A lot of guys put things in their contracts for incentives. If they get a certain amount of balls, if they get a certain amount of wins, if they get enough catches, if they get yardage, different things. Some of the cool things that happened were, did you see David Moore, 30 seconds left in the Seahawks game. Seahawks were up. Normally they would just kneel the ball. Russell Wilson saw David on the sideline, beckoned him in, decided to throw a little pass to him so he could get his 35th reception of the year, and he got a $100,000 bonus for having 35 catches.
First off, Russell Wilson is such a great teammate, such a G, because he knew that. He knew that. He knew that his teammate needed that, and he said, you know what? I'm going to help him out. I'm gonna get him that 100,000. That's my Christmas present to him. Thanks, Russell. Thank you. And you know what? You appreciate teammates that do that for you. You really do. It just brings you closer together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there was a few other ones. Leonard Floyd needed half a sack to get 10 sacks for a $1.25 million incentive bonus, and he was able to get it early on in the game. The seas parted. He jumped on him. As soon as he jumped up, he started doing the money sign and got $1 million. There was talk about, are these teams unhappy when these guys reaches these incentives? But when you have a $175 million salary cap, $1 million is not really that big of a deal. So it's kind of cool that they have these incentives and some of these guys are reaching them. The other one was Tom Brady got $562,500 because he was top 5 in passing yards for the season. He doesn't need the money, but
Yeah. You know what? He doesn't need the money. I'm sorry. Like his wife clearly wears the pants in the relationship. She makes the money. Whatever, Tom. Whatever.
And there was a few guys that had incentives that didn't quite make it. Andy Dalton got $1 million if the Cowboys made the playoffs. Glad he didn't cash that check. And there was Emmanuel Sanders. He needed to get 8 receptions for a $500,000, $500,000 bonus. He's got into the game. He had 52. And as soon as he got his 8th catch, he celebrated with the money sign as well. The team celebrated. Everybody was jumping around. He got high fives from the coach, from the quarterback, from everybody. And it was really cool to see him reach the bonus.
You know what? And it's cool that they put this in because guess what? It's not about the money anymore. It's about boosting team morale. And you can see if all the guys are excited about, oh, my teammate did it. He get paid. And, in the grand scheme of their entirety of their contract for the year, it's not that much money.
No.
But it's still cool to achieve your goal. And that's what brings the whole team together.
Yeah, totally. You're right. Yeah. Okay, just quickly, while we're still on the NFL, give me a few player of the year picks. MVP, who was your MVP this year? Regular season.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
I think it's very close. I think it's Patrick Mahomes or Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go with those two.
All
what
right.
You got?
I personally would pick Henry, but I think they're going to give Aaron Rodgers it. I think I think he's the one that they're probably going to give it to. He had a phenomenal year, and I just feel like he's probably the guy. So, how about defense? Who would you pick for your player of the year on the defensive side?
I want to say it's that the defensive back for the Miami Dolphins. Guy that had
Davian Howard.
Davian Howard. I think that he did something very special this year. Yeah. So he would be my pick.
I hope Jamal Adams gets a ton of credit for what he did, setting a record for sacks as a defensive back and playing multiple positions this year, coming over, whole new scheme, going from the worst team to one of the elite teams. Really great. Aaron Donald, just when you watch him, he's just a special talent, and he's probably going to get the nod this year. Aaron Donald is just wow, he's a beast on defense for the Rams.
Oh, he is. He's literally he's like a monster truck where he hits that line and people just go just go flying. Like he's amazing. He literally is. He's a special talent, like you said. And he's just, his athleticism is beyond imagining at times.
Yeah. How about rookie of the year? Who do you think deserves that?
I want to say the receiver for the Minnesota Vikings.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. Okay. He'd be my pick.
Yeah, he'd be my pick too. Yeah. We're thinking on the same page there. I think Joe Burrow had the really legitimate inside shot at getting it before he got hurt for Cincinnati. Justin Herbert, a lot of these times, these offensive awards do go to quarterbacks. It could be a QB getting the big consideration for it. Justin Jefferson was unbelievable this year.
Yeah, he was special this year. He really lit it up. Came out of kind of nowhere for the Vikings, and now they have something special that hopefully they hold on to. Not like Stephon Diggs, but is said, man, you can go.
I was thinking coach and GM we should talk about too, but screw those. There was some a funny thing happened in the Rams Arizona game. Both teams had a backup quarterback coming in. We talked about Wolford. Kyler Murray got hurt early on in that game, and Chris Strevner had to come in. Strevner's known here in Canada as a CFL quarterback. He was able to win a Grey Cup 2019 with Winnipeg. Went to Arizona camp and became the backup quarterback to Kyler Murray. Didn't see much of him this year, obviously, with Kyler playing all the time, but he got an opportunity. There was a play in the game. The score was 7-5 first half, and the Rams had lined up offside. So he took the snap, ran back, and just launched the ball off, thinking he had a free play. They didn't call the offside, and his ball was picked off, ran back 84 yards for a touchdown, and ended up being kind of the deciding factor for the Rams beating the Cardinals. Long story short, Boomer Esiason, when he saw that pass thrown, he said, quote, that was a horrific mistake by Revener, he called him. He didn't call him his right name. He throws it into between three Rams defenders as he's just getting out of the pocket. This isn't the Grey Cup, buddy. This isn't the CFL. You can't just throw the ball into the middle of the field and expect not somebody else to come down with it. He said there's no reason to throw it there. So that got a lot of people talking, a lot of people angry. Especially people that have played in the CFL, a lot of people north of the border here. And Strevner said, hey, I saw the guy offside. I thought it was a free play. Obviously, I don't want to throw it to triple coverage, but I threw it up there just thinking I had a free play, and hopefully my guy's going to get it. A lot of guys weighed in, and I like to read a couple of Twitter quotes. It was pretty funny, some of the good things that came out. Travis Lulay, the former BC Lions quarterback, said that Strivner knows that. He said, everyone knows that you don't throw into triple coverage. Even in the CFL, we wouldn't do that. That doesn't happen, obviously. He said, that won't work in the CFL. Believe me, they'll pick you off if you throw it there, too. So, he said, and the thing about Boomer is he's only calling the game because he's the backup. Because Tony Romo had COVID protocols, and so he was in. So he's like, don't give the backup a lot of problems when you're really only the backup guy. And you're not the best thing ever. That was cool. Chad Owens, the former CFL receiver, said, enough of the CFL shots already. He said, we don't just throw it up for grabs here either. Believe me, we play pretty good football here. And then another former CFLer, former Calgary Stampeder long snapper, Randy Chevrier, said, this is a CFL outrage tweet. He said, Esiason's talking like the CFL quarterbacks are absolute blethering idiots. He goes, we don't just chuck the ball up here if there's no other options either. He said, I've seen that play a million times by both bad and established quarterbacks when that happens in the game. And he said, I would appreciate it if you offered some intelligence when you offer analysis. So kind of cool. Kind of a little controversy. Kind of good to see the CFL mentioned. And it was funny to see the Twitter tirade.
Well, and also too, like, come on, Boomer. There's probably a reason why he did that. If you just kind of go do the overview and go, well, I shouldn't have thrown that pass. It's like, well, dude was offside. If we look at the replay, clear it offside. So I know where he was thinking. I know what his thought process was. But I guess Boomer didn't want to do that. He just wanted to take shots at CFL, you know. But hey, Boomer, I got a question for you, buddy. You ever win a ring? Oh man, I don't think you did. Oh man.
Good point. Good point. I love it. No kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, wow, that was a shot. I didn't get as mad as those other guys did, but I didn't play in the CFL either, so they're
Yeah.
defending it obviously. So yeah, well, I'm excited. The NFL playoffs are upon us. 17 weeks of football is done. It was great. What a year. Really looking forward to some amazing matchups. And this is just a phenomenal time of year. The NFL playoffs is so exciting to watch. And it's really, really, really elite teams that are in there this year.
Oh yeah, man. Like, hey, the NFL pulled it off, even with this current situation that we're all under right now. They got it done, and now we get to enjoy some real NFL playoffs coming up. And it's great lineups all across the board. It's going to be some really, really good games, and everybody should be excited to see this happen.
Yeah, that's exciting and great, and can't wait to watch them and can't wait to break them down with you next week. We're going to shift to the NBA now, but I'm just going to mention our partners and sponsors before we do that. Anchor has been a great partner and sponsor for Complete Sports Media right from the start. They've been really great at posting on multiple podcast platforms, and they call themselves the easiest place to make a podcast. Verbero is a hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value, and the V350 stick is a can't-miss stick. You get it and impress your buddies and your teammates. And Pampas Impossibilities, they design and sell dried florals, floral arrangements, and do installations at very reasonable prices. And finally, Forever Living, the aloe vera company. They grow and manufacture aloe vera-based products for health and beauty. You can find all the details on CompleteSportsMedia.com and click the links there. It gives you the ability to purchase some products at reduced rates. So thank you so much to our partners and sponsors. We couldn't do this without you. Okay, NBA. What I want to talk about right off the start is Steph Curry's monster 62-point night last night. Man, it brought me tons of joy. And yeah, it was the talk of the town today. Great to see that he's not over the hill and the old man like everybody was talking about after the first few games of the season. Yeah, he just fired it from everywhere and everything went in, and it looked like the Steph of old. And he's still got it. He's still good. He's still great. It was awesome to watch.
It was awesome to watch, and also too, it was awesome to watch because like they kind of got stomped in that first game against the Trailblazers, right?
Yeah, 25 on Christmas Day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So guess what? Golden State Warriors have pride. They have pride, and they remembered that game. Steph especially remembered that game clearly, right? And also too, Steph wanted to show something in that game in particular. Okay, so Damian Lillard's now the guy, huh? He's the shooter. Really? That's news to me. And guess what? I'm going to make sure people remember that I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I still can shoot the ball. He's the greatest shooter the NBA's ever seen.
Yeah.
And he demonstrated. And then not just shooting, but his drives to the basket were very creative, effortless. Oh, man, he looked good. He was on fire from everywhere on the court that night.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was super impressed at his drives to the hoop. He has sometimes tended to shoot from outside because he's so good and lethal out there, but those drives to the basket enabled him to get to the line so much and enabled some of his teammates to be open as well. And it really, really showed so much of his ability. He can go through the trees and get it off the backboard in the hoop. Layups were just unbelievable. Super impressive game, just all around incredible.
No, all around incredible. And you know what, Steph just put the league on notice again that, you know what, I'm still here. I'm still really, really good. Yeah. And he detonated. He blew up. Yep. I kind of expect there's going to be more performances from him this year, probably more so than he's ever done in any year, because he kind of has to.
Yeah. With Clay out, with KD gone, with young guys. Oubre's, I think, going to be a really huge piece, And I've been impressed with their draft pick, Wiseman. Um, uh, Actually, I was really impressed with Draymond Green last night, even though he wasn't on the score sheet. He was facilitating lots of great passing, lots of good inside work, good defense. But yeah, Steph is going to have to score a lot for this team to be successful.
Yeah, he really is, because unfortunately he doesn't have his running partner with him in Clay. Clay hopefully will recover and he'll be good to go next season. But for right now, Steph is the guy,
Yeah.
and all of the defenses are going to be keying on him. You have to remember that. He pulled off 62 with the defense keying on him.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I've got a painting of Steph on this side. I got a painting of Steph and Kobe on this side.
Yeah.
This was the first player since Kobe to get 30 points in both halves of a game since 2005. He was able to just blast it last night. His previous high was 54 back in 2013. So a really long time, since he's been there. I think that was his 7th 50-point game, though. He looked so phenomenal. He missed one free throw. He was at 80 in a row, and he missed one free throw. He was that was his career high, and had set a franchise record there. But man, it was fun to watch. They're playing right now against Sacramento, and he's already got 18 points in 15 minutes. So he's backing it up with a good game, and that doesn't always happen. A lot of times they double and triple team a guy when he goes off the first night, but he's already, by far the top scorer for this game. And they're playing Sacramento. They're beating them by 23 with 3 minutes left in the first half. So, good on him. Great to see. I put the Warriors jacket up there for Steph today. And, he's rejuvenated my love of the game in the past 7-8 years that he's been back in the NBA. Just really love watching him play and just how much excitement. If that arena would have been full, I couldn't imagine the sound in there, the amount of people that would have been jumping out of their seats and would have been so excited. And it's too bad that those fans in San Francisco, now that they've moved over from Oakland, didn't get that opportunity to cheer him on live.
Yeah, and also too, I believe that's a new stadium that nobody's been in. So, it's waiting. It's there. I do like the fact that they do have the interactive, fans as part of that stadium experience.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty awesome. I think that's very cool and very astute of not just the GM, but the president and the organization as a whole. So I thought that was very awesome. And you're absolutely right. That place would have been rocking, especially even when he hit his last three in the last minute of the game.
Yeah.
That's just icing on the cake. So eventually, yes, fans are going to be back and things are going to be back to normal. We're going to be able to enjoy these guys in real time. But for now, hey, we just have to enjoy them on the TV screen, and it doesn't lessen his performance because his performance was freaking amazing.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. Yeah, I was glad that you PVR'd it. You told me you PVR'd it, so I was happy that you were going to get a chance to watch a little bit of it. His former running mate, Kevin Durant, has got COVID contact tracing, and now he's being quarantined for a week, and he's going to miss 4 games for the Nets. Kind of tough. You just really can't be hanging around with any people out there. You just have to stay away and stay in your little bubble and come out for games and go back to your bubble. Poor KD in Brooklyn. 4 games he's going to miss over a week.
Kind of sucks because the state of America is. I'm sorry, Americans. Sorry, for my family in America. You're infected. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere, and it's super hard for these professional athletes to stay clear of all of that if it's freaking everywhere. It's it's insidious. It's with the family members, and you got to worry about your kids and everything else for that matter. It's a hard time for these guys to try to keep it clean for themselves. It's super hard. And like we said before, these teams are going to be affected by this. They're going to be affected. Maybe all of them are going to be affected. by the end of the day, right? But it will teach them a lesson. It will teach all these players a lesson, which is you're going to have to keep it pretty close to the vest. You're going to have to stay within your stage, stay within your family unit, and that's kind of it. That's kind of it, man.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be popped and you just don't, you want to keep playing these games and not have to sit on the sidelines and watch your teammates play. Because let's be honest, KD looks magnificent.
Yeah.
He looks like the KD of old. It looks like he never even got injured. He looks fantastic.
Yeah, like I think I was saying last week, to me, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. He just looked, so good off the bat. With an Achilles injury, you really worry that a guy's not going to have that, quick first step. He's not going to be able to jump like he did. But man, some of the moves he's made, he's been getting guys off their feet. He's, his dribble drives. He's been penetrating amazing. Just looking really, really, really fine. Like he hasn't even been injured and had that much time off.
Yeah. He really hasn't been injured. Like it's just like he just kind of came back and be like, no, I'm still good. I'm KD. It's all good. And you know who the other guy that looks really good, like he hasn't been injured, is Kyrie Irving, his running mate. Because Kyrie, like both those guys have played phenomenal basketball at the beginning so far this year. Like they're looking like world beaters.
Yeah.
They really are. And then with the addition of the extras on that team, Brooklyn Nets are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the East. They're going to be good, real good.
I feel a little bit sad sometimes for Steve Nash. I really want his, coaching debut to go super well. I want him to be able to taste some success, and if he stays there, great. But if he, it can springboard him on and on, I really want that there. They are 3-4 to start the year. They had a loss last night against the Wizards, where both Kyrie had a last-second shot. The rebound went to Durant, and he missed a last-second shot too. It was surprising that both guys had the ball in their hands in the last, let's say 10 seconds, and both missed. But I don't see that happening very often this year. If they're both able to get shots like that, and looks like they did, I'm sure they're going to be able to drain them and rise to the top of the East. I'm sure as the season wears on.
Oh yeah, man. Those are shots that they're not going to miss too often at all. But also too, within that stretch of games that they played another team in the East that I'm going to tell you right now, people need to keep their eye on them. I think you know the team I'm going to say, so I'm going to say it. Yeah. It's Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Hawks look
awesome,
freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. That team is, woo. Oh, man, Trae Young now has a team to contend with.
Yeah.
They got players, my friend. They got a bunch of players.
Yeah, that was a great offseason for Atlanta. Trae Young had, such a phenomenal rookie year. And for them to go out and get Capella and get, Bogdanovich and get, so many weapons to complement him, phenomenal offseason and great to see them playing so well. And I'm really impressed with Atlanta. It's a fun team to watch.
No, they're a super fun team. Like that team kind of reminds me of like the Dominique Wilkins era, where it was super fun to watch them play.
Yeah.
Like that team they're just a blast to watch, man, because they move the ball well. They play within themselves. They play as a team. And you got Trae Young captaining the ship with the way that he does his thing and bombing away from like 35 feet or logo area. They just make the game fun.
Yeah.
They make the game fun, and they're elite. They could hang with the Nets. They're good. Yeah. They're real good.
Right now, the top of the East is Philly, 5-1 going into tonight. Are you shocked that they are the class of the East right now?
Yep, sure am. I'm going to be honest. I definitely did not see that coming. But you know what? With Daryl Morey coming in and putting together the team that he believes that will win games, well, clearly he knows what he's doing because that's what they're doing. They're winning games. So good on him, and good on him for not caving to the fact that I got to get rid of one of these superstars. Ben Simmons got to go or Joel Embiid's got to go. That's been the talk for so long. But he's like, nah, I think they can both play with each other. They just need other pieces around them. And so he switched that up, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive. A team that's not having fun in the East is the Toronto Raptors, 1-5. really struggling, having a lot of troubles. Nobody expected them to have this much of a drop off, losing the players they lost. But yeah, what's wrong with the Raptors?
I I think that Serge and Marc Gasol actually had more of an impact than people believe that they had. I think that they were very instrumental to what Toronto did do
Yeah.
in previous years past. And now Toronto's trying to redefine and find themselves again with the new players that they now have in hand because they're just not the same team, clearly. Because
Yeah.
Marc Gasol is kind of like a defensive genius.
Yeah.
Defensive genius, right? And then Serge Ibaka, he just adds that thing, that other it factor that you need for great teams. Now those two guys are gone. Now you replace them with other parts. I think this is just them trying to find their groove and trying to figure out who they really are as a team for this year. I think eventually they'll get there because Nick Nurse is too good of a head coach for them not to get there. And this team has pride. They're winners. They're champions. They're going to get there eventually.
This is Nick Nurse's biography right behind me here. I got it for Christmas. This book here, about halfway through, just started. Man, great book, amazing, impressive, and very impressive rise to the Coach of the Year 2 years in a row and winning an NBA championship. It's 15 teams, 4 countries, 1 NBA championship, and how to find a way to win damn near everywhere. It's called Rapture. Get it, phenomenal book. I love Nick Nurse. I think he's going to be able to figure out how to turn this around. Everybody's blaming Pascal Siakam, who had a really tough time in the bubble and hasn't looked very good to start this year. Pascal Siakam is a guy that had such an absolute meteoric rise that nobody expected he was going to be an all-star a couple of seasons ago. Nobody expected they were going to ever get the production and the performance they got from him. And now he's set the bar so high that people are just saying he's a bum and get rid of him and he just can't do it. Do you think they're jumping on him way too fast? Do you think he has an opportunity to turn this around and have a really solid run for the rest of the year?
What are we, 5 games in? Yeah. Seems a little soon to me, but and also too, he's a young player. He's still trying to figure out. He's still trying to figure out what his greatness is, how he's going to define that, who he's going to be. And I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to get there. It's just going to take time. Every player takes a little bit of time. Every player is a little bit different. I think Pascal's going to get there. It's just that he's having a tough start at the beginning of this year. Doesn't mean that he's not going to pick it up at maybe in the next 5 to 6 to 10 games.
Yeah,
he probably will. It's a learning experience for these guys. And then once they get to that point, once they figure it out, so to speak, he's going to be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the West teams. The teams that are leading the West right now are the both LA teams, Clippers and Lakers, and Phoenix, all 5-2. Great to see Phoenix up there with those 2 powerhouses. You and I love Phoenix and really would like to see them do well. They had an amazing run in that bubble there. It's great to see how they've come out of the gate, and I love watching this team play.
I love the fact that they got Chris Paul. Yeah. And I love the fact that Chris Paul said, I want to play for the Suns. That Devin Booker kid is really good. And now Devin Booker's like, I don't actually have to do everything. I don't have to handle the rock. I don't have to handle the ball. I don't have to facilitate. I don't have to score. Now I can kind of just score. Yeah. And then I let Chris Paul be the orchestrator and run the offense because he's really good at that. Yeah. He's actually one of the best to ever do it. And so when you got a guy like that you brought in along with Jay Crowder, a savvy vet that they got there, and you got all these young bucks that are just really good and really motivated along with superstar Devin Booker, you got recipes for success. Yep. And look at what's happening. Now they're in the mix in the West when they were not even a thought last year.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm really happy. It's nice to see the turnaround there. And I can't wait for more games from Phoenix. They're an exciting young team. They got a really good direction going there. I loved seeing the fight last night between Booker and PG-13, Paul George. George ended up admitting at the end of the game that a lot of guys have been chirping him this year, and Booker was the latest one, saying that he sucks. He couldn't do anything in the bubble. Overrated. A lot of comments like this are coming out of guys this year. What do you think of that little dust up last night?
Good. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of animosity. Have a little bit of passion in the game. Well, like I kind of agree with some of the old schoolers like Barkley and Shaq saying everybody's friends and nobody, I like that. I like the fact that, there's a little bit more passion, a little bit more angst in the game. I think that's great. I think that's great for everybody. Yeah. And also, too, Paul, they're not wrong. Where were you, buddy? Where were you in the playoffs? I don't know, man. What were you doing? Because you weren't doing much. All right. And then for him to go and throw his coach under the bus. So what? So you don't take no responsibility for what you did in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Maybe that's why people are talking so much game and so much junk to you, because they see the weakness in you, my friend. Yeah. They really do. So now this is your opportunity to show them that they're wrong. I don't know if you can, because I know Devin Booker's going to be coming for you. So, let's see.
Well, after he criticized Doc Rivers said, see you later, LA, and now he's in Philly, and they're the top of the East, the best team in the league right now. I don't think Doc was the problem there. So, I hope PG just shuts his mouth. He had a great game last night, 39 points, and they had the win over the Suns. But, he was super, he was really bad in the bubble. I do want to mention that he said he was quite depressed. He was very isolated in that bubble, missed his friends and family, and was one of the only guys that really was honest with that and said he was having a hard go with it. I can give him a bit of a pass there, but he's better step up this year. Kawhi, put a lot of faith in him to try to deliver another championship, and he really, really let everybody down that was thinking it was going to be the Clippers going far.
Well, I hope he doesn't say the same thing this year where he's like, I felt pretty isolated this year. I miss my friends and family. Yeah, man, I heard that last year. Man. So, hey, this is his like I said, this is his opportunity. And I get it. Because a lot of us have felt that. A lot of us have felt that depression and isolation. All right? Yeah. It's not just the professional athletes. It's normal folk like you and me as well. So I do understand that and I get that. But now you are being paid a lot of money to perform. That's your job. Now let's see if you can perform. You guys, guess what? The comments aren't going to stop. The Twitter comments are not going to stop. Like all these things are not going to stop. People are going to keep piling on you until you perform. So let's see what happens.
It's got to do it. Yeah. Let's see. There was a really hilarious Twitter tirade. We talked about Twitter a little bit with the NFL. Let's talk about this funny thing that came out with the Kings. So Marvin Bagley, a player for the Sacramento Kings, his father tweeted out, trade Marvin Bagley III, get him out of there. And Marvin was like, whoa, what are we saying here? Hey. And told his dad to be quiet. Well, De'Aaron Fox's dad said, yeah, trade Marvin Bagley. He jumped on. So De'Aaron Fox just tweeted out, Jesus Christ. He was so angry at his dad for weighing in and saying, yeah, trade Bagley. It was pretty hilarious little thing that happened yesterday. And did you hear any follow? Did you see any of this yourself?
No, man, I didn't hear it, but I think I know where this conversation is going to be with the dad. My son's better than your son. You know that, right? Yeah. This is clearly one of those. But I love the fact that the teammates are trying to calm all that nonsense down by saying, we're not the ones saying this. This is our fathers. Yes, we love and respect them, but we're going to need them to shut up now.
Yeah, there's been always a lot of troubles in Sacramento, and it's pretty crazy that the dads are weighing in and saying this. Marvin Bagley has had a disappointing start to his career. He was selected number 2 overall behind Luka Doncic, So he's a high guy to live up to. But I think if he can talk to Luke Walton and try to be more in the mix, get a little more playing time, have some plays called for him a bit more. I don't think he's mature enough, and he just doesn't quite have it yet for Luke to trust him in crunch time situations. But I hope this isn't him talking himself from his dad out of town and blowing it up in his face, because he's got talent. He just hasn't shown it all yet quite in the NBA.
He's got the talent. I think it's there. But for some of these young guys, it just takes them a little bit longer for it to all click into place for them. And maybe for him, that's what it is. That's his journey. It's just going to take a little bit longer for him to click into place. And then, the organization and management has to understand that and just let him progress the way that he needs to progress. Yeah. I don't know if they can wait that long. I guess we shall see. Yeah. But I think the potential is clearly there. It's clearly there for him.
Yeah. Carmelo Anthony passed Tim Duncan for 14th on the all-time scoring list, kind of quietly yesterday. Can you believe that he's up into that elite company? Always was a scorer, never a huge winner, but always was a big scorer.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give Carmelo Anthony like a huge props here because he's changed his mindset. Yeah. He's changed his mindset in the fact that he's not the player that he used to be. That's why he's coming off the bench, but he's still a threat coming off the bench. And before, he never would have even considered doing that. Yeah. But since he left the league for a certain amount of time, that mindset changed. Yeah. Because if he wanted to get back in the league, he was going to have to accept some harsh realities of what it is for him, his reality at this point in time. And now that he has, I feel that he's more than a winner than he ever was when he was younger. Yeah. To be honest with you. True. He really feels like that. And he's playing defense. Never did that before.
I mentioned Marvin Bagley went number 2 overall behind Luka Doncic. Carmelo Anthony went number 2 overall behind who? Do you remember?
LeBron James? Yeah, LeBron James. Yeah, that guy that's still playing and still awesome.
Yeah, I know, still MVP caliber, 18th season, and the difference. Imagine if Cleveland would have wavered and thought, let's pick Melo over LeBron. Yeah, like, wow, what a change that would have been in the history of man.
That would have been the same as Sam Bowie going over to Michael Jordan. That's the same. It's the same thing where you're just like, you guys are idiots. Why would you do that? Why did you do that? Like, why would you do that? Yeah. So, but Cleveland clearly had a smart GM and said, no, I'm going to go with that guy. Yeah. He seems pretty good. Great choice.
I want to mention John Wall. What a resurgence to his career after missing a couple of seasons. He came into the league this year, and huge trade, obviously. Russell Westbrook leaving, one of the most talented players, former MVP. But he's looked really phenomenal. He's fitting in somehow with James Harden, and he's looking great. I'm super impressed and happy for him.
He's fitting in better than I thought he would, to be honest with you. I didn't know how this experiment would go, and so far, so good. And John Wall, as you said, he looks fantastic. He looks phenomenal. Ready to go. Looks like he's clearly not being hampered by any injuries at this point in time. He looks great. And this thing with him and Harden, it's actually working. Yeah. It seems like it's working. And that, to me, is more incredible than anything else, because it's hard to gauge how somebody's going to work with Harden. It's really hard to gauge that, right? And I think that's why teams are like, I don't know if we need him for our team. You know what I mean? Like, because of the way that he plays, his style, and the way that the offense is going to be manipulated, shifted because of the way he plays his style. At the end of the day, you have to look at it and say, is it winning basketball? Can that win me a championship? Because unfortunately for him, it hasn't done that yet. But also, too, unfortunately, he's had to play one of the greatest constructed teams in the history of the NBA time and time again. So you kind of have to weigh that, too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's great to see. Washington's off to a terrible start, 2-5, not looking good at all. But yeah, great to see this for Wall. He called himself last night. He called himself the best shot blocking guard of all time, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, wow, that's quite the statement." So I started looking into it a little bit today, and he's actually fourth among active guards. LeBron's number one. Danny Green's actually number two, and James Harden is number three among active guards in blocks. And all of those three guys have played hundreds of more games than John Wall's played. So, yeah, I mean, wow, what a statement. Kind of starting to maybe agree with him if he can keep healthy and keep rising up among these guys. Pretty impressive.
I agree with him too, and also too, it's kind of a cheat with LeBron being a guard.
Right.
It's kind of
True.
it's a cheat,
Right.
but at the same time, he is a guard. So I don't know how to differentiate him. He's a facilitator. He's not a real true guard, and he's more forward, I believe.
Sure.
But he does facilitate offense, so that's what a guard does, right?
Yeah.
But now that John Wall has said it, and then you looked into it, it's like, oh man, okay, yeah. And especially if he can stay healthy for a number of years with his shot blocking ability, yeah, he's going to take that.
Yeah.
He'll take it.
Pretty cool. Yeah, pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, yeah. Golden State's leading by 20 just into the third quarter. We'll do a Steph watch. Hopefully he can get a few more 50-point games this year and yeah, help the Warriors have a good season. It'd be nice to see them come back into some reality after finishing last in the league last year. I do want to mention boxing before we go. Did you see the Ryan Garcia Luke Campbell fight over the weekend, and what Ryan Garcia, how Ryan Garcia got Luke Campbell out of the fight?
No, unfortunately, I did miss that.
Wow.
Please.
Well, Luke Campbell, amazingly enough, knocked Ryan Garcia down earlier in the fight, but all of a sudden Ryan Garcia started using his speed, his hands, and he knocked him out of the fight with a body shot that looked absolutely brutal. He just hit him in the side. Luke took a couple steps back, and then he just went to his knee, and he just could not continue. It was over. It was a lethal body shot. And I think Garcia, this young kid, man, he has a lot of potential. I was super impressed by his performance.
Okay, so that means we're kind of seeing a resurgence right now of this young talent that's just kind of coming up.
Yeah.
They're all on the come up with Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia. You're seeing this rise of this young talent now, and it's awesome to see. It's actually stupendous to see because we've been so used to the old guard, but we need a new blood. We need new blood, and with Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford, we're seeing it now. We're seeing it now, and it's
great.
It's super exciting. It's an exciting time for boxing. It really
sure is. Yeah. I just want to read some of the comments. Oscar De La Hoya said Ryan Garcia will be 10 times bigger the boxing star than Canelo Alvarez was ever. He said, who else has made some comments about him? Just tons of guys were, just giving him so much props over the last few days. I thought I had the comments right in front of me, but yeah, it was great. I hope you get a chance to see it over the next coming days. But yeah, he's got the look, he's got the talent. I was just blown away by his power, and to be able to take a guy out with a body shot. We don't see that very often anymore. And it was a great night for boxing. It was really fun to see him be able to have that star power, the look, and the abilities. He really came in, and that is a very loaded weight class at 135. He doesn't have a world title yet, but I think he's on a fast track for it.
Oh yeah, it sounds like he's on the fast track because Luke Campbell is no joke. That
Yeah,
is a very, very game elite boxer in
yeah.
that division. He really is, and for him to be taken out by a body shot, that's that's pretty impressive stuff. Very impressive.
Yeah, it was sad to see a Campbell take the loss. Yeah, I like Luke Campbell, and he's definitely no joke. I was pretty, yeah, I'm pretty impressed by him. But there was 6,000 fans there that were in the American Airlines Center. It was the very first night for DAZN, the streaming service broadcasting the fight. That's their sort of unofficial launch of their service. They've been handling NFL the past couple seasons, but yeah, I want you to watch it. I wasn't impressed with all the aspects of the DAZN stuff, but yeah, it's good to see another heavyweight in the streaming service jumping on board and supporting boxing like this.
Yeah, and no, it's great for boxing because we just need more of that. We need more ability to just see these great fighters box and do their craft. So
Yeah.
it's cool to see. It's cool to see.
Highlights of his win were one of the top trending videos on YouTube the whole entire weekend. Every time I went by YouTube, they kept saying he was one of the top trending videos. He started calling out a few guys. He wants to fight Devin Haney, who has a belt already. Haney was in attendance on Saturday and said he wants to fight. So that could be a matchup. Garcia also talked about Gervonta Davis, who is a 2-division title holder. And then they also talked about Teofimo Lopez as well, who you mentioned earlier. He's the unified champion and the top dog in the lightweight division. So, yeah, they said that Bob Arum and Lopez are going to sit down, and Lopez's team are going to sit down and see if maybe something can be put together for those two guys.
Exciting times, man. Exciting times because like we're beginning to see like the boxing matches that we've always wanted. Everybody always wants to see the best against the best, to see who is the actual best.
Yeah.
And I think this year we're going to be gifted with a ton of these kind of fights coming up. And they're going to make it happen because you know what? They have us at their leisure because nobody's going anywhere. Everybody's at home watching TV.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I'm excited. Yeah, I think there's lots of amazing boxing matches to be had this 2021 and on through the years, but it's going to be exciting. We're still a week away from another UFC card. Nothing this Saturday, but the main event in the featherweight division Saturday, January 16th has Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. Something to really get excited about and looking forward to.
Oh yeah, man. Max Holloway coming back. Devastating loss to Volkanovski. I'm curious to see how he bounces back against a very game and a very elite fighter in Calvin Kattar. It should be probably going to be a war.
Yeah.
It'll be a war.
Yeah, you're right. Well, man, thanks as always. This was great. It was really nice to talk NFL, basketball, some boxing, UFC. Always so much fun, man. You really make my week. And yeah, this was great. Man, I can't believe the playoffs are upon us. And start of the NBA season, yeah, it's always super fun to watch the games and then break them down with you.
Oh man, I love it. This is a great start to the year, to this new year for us, and I look forward to the rest of it because it's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, I'm glad we've turned the page. Everybody seems so excited to put 2020 in our rearview mirror and go on to 2021. It's not going to go back to normal anytime really soon, but the vaccines getting into people's arms, the ability to put COVID behind us, I think, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So we're excited, and yeah, it's going to be a great year in sports. You know, we had a hiatus there in March, April, May, but once the sports has come back, holy man, has it been great. It's been enriching my life beyond belief and yours and a lot of our viewers and listeners. And we're so lucky that we get to watch sports and witness all these amazing, incredible athletic achievements and games. And man, it's given me a lot of pleasure in my life right now.
Oh yeah, it's giving me a ton of pleasure, and it's also too. like sports, at the end of the day, kind of it does give you some semblance of hope that things will come back to normal. But you know what? We're still gifted with the fact that we get to see these excellent athletes play and play at a high level and give us some joy and entertainment for all of us across the globe.
Yeah. Okay, well, enjoy your week. I hope it goes really quick for you, and you can get and to enjoy those playoffs on Saturday. And text me through the week. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit, and really looking forward to seeing you next week.
I definitely look forward to it, my friend. So it's gonna be a great week. It's gonna be a great week, man.
Okay. Hey, thanks, buddy. All the best.
All
right.
best.
Take care. Bye for now.
Bye, mate.
Okay, that was our Monday wrap up of the weekend of sports. Tons of fun as always. Really great that we could break down the last week of the NFL and get into the playoff round. Holy cow, wild card weekend. They're calling it Super Wild Card Weekend with 3 games each day and only 1 bye. So 12 teams battling it out. Great to talk about the NBA and on the heels of Steph Curry's amazing 62-point performance, talking about him and Kobe sharing a record there and getting into so much of the amazing, interesting goings on in the first couple of weeks of the NBA, boxing and UFC. Covered a lot today. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, support our partners and sponsors, and really appreciate all of you. Thanks so much. Really want to give a shout out to my niece and nephew. Thanks always for tuning in. Love you guys lots. Hope you're having a fantastic holiday and enjoying your summer in Australia. And take care of yourself. Thanks, everybody. We will see you again. Enjoy. Love you. Bye for now.